obviously, coming off his loss to Dariush, and obviously coming off his loss to Oliveira, and the likes of obviously the brutal shellacking that he took against Justin Gaethje, a lot of MMA fans are wondering what's going to happen to Tony Ferguson now. So my thoughts is I think Tony Ferguson's career has effectively come to an end. Obviously the two brutal weight cuts that he did before he fought the Justin Gaethje fight, and all the psychological demons he had to deal with the Khabib fights getting constantly cancelled and him not getting a title shot, I just don't think he's the same fighter. Oh, on top of that, the brutal shellacking he took against Gaethje as well, I think he's just never going to be the same again. But the problem is, I think there's two ways this can go. I mean, he can either have one more fight and just bow out with grace and just call it an end to his career. Maybe a fight against a Nick Diaz, that would be an interesting fight that fans would love. Or Nate Diaz, another fight that fans would love. Or maybe a Donald Cerrone and the winner and the loser retires in that fight. Or he can do a BJ Penn, which is to just keep going and keep taking losses and keep taking losses and keep taking losses. I can either see both scenarios happening, but in my opinion, I think he's going to take the second choice, the BJ Penn route, which is just to never retire and just to keep fighting and keep fighting and keep fighting and keep losing and keep getting brutalized. And obviously the UFC are going to keep him in because of the fact that he's a fan favorite fighter, so he's going to get people to watch. And on top of that, like he does have some exposure, but I think he's just going to keep losing if he keeps coming back and fighting at the level that he's trying to fight at. He could probably get a win if he fights at a lower level, but I think Tony Ferguson's ego and pride will not let him do that. So he's going to keep taking fights against fighters that are just too highly ranked for him. His next fight needs to be against a fight that's not in the top 10. That much has to be said. And I think he should try going up to welterweight. I think the lightweight limit is just too difficult for him to make at this point. He's older now, so he just doesn't have... his body just doesn't have the gas tank to do what it once did. I think it's an element of a lot of things. Obviously, all the punishment he's taken in all these fights, the brutal weight cut, the fact that he trains like an absolute madman, and obviously like just his he's a fighter who trains very hard but doesn't train very smart. I think if you compare the likes of Tony Ferguson against his rival, who ironically never fought, Khabib, I think Khabib is a way smarter fighter than a Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson is a legend. He undoubtedly, he's in the same realm as a Chael Sonnen, in my opinion. A Chael Sonnen type legend, in the sense that he didn't have to win a title to win the hearts of the fans, just because of his personality and the way he carries himself, and his never say die attitude, and his willingness to fight everyone, and his ability to never quit and keep persevering, and all the exciting fights that he's had, all the great moments he's given us, all the memes, everything he's done in his career. He's one of them few fighters that has never won a title but has won the hearts of the fans, and that's just who he is. He is like a Chael Sonnen. And I think he could become an interesting personality in the world of MMA if he plays his cards right. But that's up to him to do. Obviously, the fans can't make that decision for him. And in a weird way, I kind of want him to retire, just so that we don't have a BJ Penn situation where he just keeps fighting on, and keeps losing and keeps getting a shellac in, and then eventually gets to the point where we don't even recognize who he is anymore as a fighter. He's just not even a shadow of his former self. It's very similar to the Roy Jones situation. I'm not saying Tony Ferguson is on the same level as a Roy Jones in terms of skill or ability, but it's a once great fighter that just cannot let go, cannot give up what he had. And the thing that made him so great was his ability to never quit and to persevere. But ironically, that's what's making him destroy his legacy at this point right now. The thing that made his legacy in the past is the thing that's destroying his legacy now. So yeah, worryingly, he's been saying that he's going to carry on fighting. So yeah, I think the BJ Penn situation is what's going to happen with Tony Ferguson. I think his stubbornness and his inability to see reality for what it is, that's what's going to stop him basically from retiring and salvaging any dignity he has left in his career. But I feel like even though he didn't reach gold, he did become a fan favorite fighter. So yeah, that's my opinion. Even though he never reached gold, by the way, I know he became an interim champion, but even though he didn't reach the top of the mountain, ironically, he's still considered an ATG lightweight. Like, he never won a title, but he's still considered up there as an ATG lightweight. So I think that shows how good he is. Like, despite the fact that he never won the title, he never won gold, he's still considered an ATG lightweight of all time. So yeah, that's my opinions of all of this. Tell me your opinions. What do you think Tony Ferguson should do next? Maybe he should take some time off and have a farewell fight with the likes of Nick Diaz, Donald Cerrone, Anthony Pettis. Now, Anthony Pettis is not in the UFC, but... Or maybe he's going to go to Bellator, PFL, or maybe even go to bare knuckle boxing. We just don't know what's going to happen with his career, because Tony Ferguson is a zany type character. He's not a character who makes conventional decisions. He's a character that does things off the cuff. He's a free-spirited type of guy, so you can never predict what he's going to do next, because he fights how he lives his life. He's very off the wall and zany, and ironically, that's what makes fans love him, but it also makes it difficult to predict what he's going to do next. So yeah, that's my opinion. In my opinion, he's probably going to take the BJ Penn route, which is to keep fighting and to keep losing and to keep getting brutalized, which is unfortunately the path that most fighters take when they're past it, but they've still got bills to pay and they just can't seem to let go of what they once were. It's just the path that they take. So yeah, that's my opinion. Tell me your opinion below. What do you think Tony Ferguson should do? Do you think he should have a farewell fight? Do you think he should keep fighting and hopefully somehow get back into it, like have a career stride and somehow... I just think he's so past that at this point. I think the only way to maintain some dignity in his career is someone needs to take him to one side and just say to him, look man, your career's done, man. Like, you've tried so hard to like salvage your career, it's just not going to happen, and now you're just taking damage and damage and damage. And you might end up like a Diego Sanchez, involved in some scandal or something before your career's done, and you don't want that to happen. So yeah, that's my opinion below. Tell me your opinion below. Like and subscribe to the channel. I've got a lot more content coming your way. Peace out.